get this roasted cooking. We just launched this podcast.
Mhm.
How are you feeling?
I'm really excited, like doing this and all the
Yeah.
promo we did for this
Yeah.
episode. It was really fun. Like I
Yeah.
love getting in character. I'm honestly really surprised by how much support we've gotten already
Yeah.
from people. I was like, oh my god, like I
Yeah.
didn't think like that many people would tune in. So I'm excited for like the
Yeah.
rest of it, and I'm so glad that you guys have been enjoying it too. Right now we are on Spotify and YouTube. I need to figure out Apple Music, but that is gonna come shortly.
Yeah, and make sure you guys are subscribing and following so you guys
Mhm.
can also we pop up on your feed.
And if you guys want us to cover specific topics or anything like that, anything you want to hear, just let us know down in the comments. Just send us a DM on our Instagram.
How are you feeling right now, actually?
I'm like coming back to life right now.
You're coming back to life?
Yeah. How are you feeling? Are you feeling the fantasy?
I'm feeling a fantasy. I don't know if the fantasy is necessarily a good fantasy, but there's a fantasy going on right now. Yeah, I'm struggling right now.
Oh, I'm
But
chilling.
I will be good.
How was your Halloween?
Our Halloween was amazing.
Yeah, it was so crazy.
Yeah, I twisted my ankle and I'm literally gonna fucking cry.
I got possessed by Roman. She
Nikki
came
came
out.
on and it literally turned the whole house out.
It was so fun though. Thank you for having that party.
Duh. I will always have a party when my parents are not home.
True. What else would a teenage pop star do? Hey guys, my name is Mermaid Man.
I'm Hannah Montana. And
we're about to go off.
This episode is going to be amazing. I'm going to be strangling this little friend as my mic today. Go.
It's Halloween, so we wanted to do a spooky episode. So we're going to be talking about some scary stories. Ghost encounters.
Oh.
It's from some people on Reddit. Do you know what Reddit is?
I do know what Reddit is. I used to go on Reddit for like a bunch of things to like get sneak peeks, but then I stopped caring of like what's gonna happen because I'd rather be surprised when it happens. So I'd go there for like the inside scoop.
But today we're gonna be doing spooky stuff.
Spooky.
Yeah, spooky season. We do not claim the vibe. We're gonna be safe.
Ew, no. We rebuke all negative energy. For all the viewers and listeners.
Yes.
Let's manifest good energy, positive energy, and any negative energy that is coming our way will be recycled, refurbished into positive, good energy.
Yeah. Do you have any scary stories?
Should I get into it?
Yeah, set the scene.
These individuals were messing around with certain like games like the Ouija.
The what?
Ouija.
Oh.
Yeah. So from the start of it, these people were like messing around with all this like dumb things, like in movies, very much like if you've seen Talk to Me, if you've seen the Ouija, if you've seen any like paranormal movie, it always starts with some stupid ass people coming in and ruining like everyone's life because they wanted to mess around with these dumb things. The person that I'm close to was close to these other people and they were the ones doing it. The person that I'm close to started getting affected by association of these people. What? So whatever like was happening to them was happening like 10 times probably worse than what was happening to the person I knew. This person started sleeping and she wouldn't be able to sleep anymore. And there was a time where she felt like just bad energy, bad everything. And one night she wakes up with like scratches, like all on her, and like it was just weird. They were appearing like every other night. It wasn't until they like took action then that's what like
what
happened.
Did they do?
I think they went to like the church.
Did they get like a priest?
Like blessed or something. Another story. I had a friend that every other night she would see a little girl or a female figure standing in the corner of her room.
Oh my god.
So she'd wake up, get sleep paralysis, and have to watch this bitch like dance around. It was like a dark figure and it would get close up, and one night she woke up with her hair braided.
That is scary. Scary boots.
No, I'm terrified of that. Until it's like physical, I'm like, that's beyond.
Because it's like your mind could be like playing tricks on you, right? Like you can think that, but like going to sleep with not braided hair and then waking up with braided hair, that's scary. Like what do you mean you touched me?
Did I ever tell you guys a story of what happened at Kate Spade? I used to work at Kate Spade. They like just started, I think I was like a month in. So they had me doing like stock checks. So I'm going to the back, getting bags. There is a clearance section that they have all the way in the back of the store, and that's where you have to go to get these things. They asked me for this bag. I'm brand new. I'm looking for it deep. Like I'm climbing on these like bars to get this bag. When I'm walking away, I already felt weird. It was always cold in that store. It was really weird. I walked to the back, and I kid you not, loud as fuck. It sounded like it was going through the air vents. I hear, help! Help! I hear that, and I said, I walked away so fast. Well, I was the only one back there. The only people that heard it was like me. But I'm like, did you guys not? Once I heard that, I had chills down my spine.
Your balls got sucked up.
Crinkled to a crisp.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was like, let me get the fuck out of here.
I got possessed one time. Like, I don't know what it was. In high school, they found an abandoned house.
No way.
Yeah, it was like abandoned. So we used to hang out there all the time in high school, and we would partake in the devil's lettuce. This one time we were like inside, and I guess we just had too much. I didn't actually get possessed. We were all super, super high. I was like, I'm gonna scare them. So I basically like just get up, stand to the corner of the room, and just like turn around, face the wall, and I'm just standing there forever until someone notices.
I would have literally been so upset with you. I would have been like, George, get the fuck.
Literally until someone noticed. Like, what happened? Like, and then everyone's like, oh my god, look at him over there. Like, look at him, look at him, look at him. They're like, dude, are you okay? Like, are you okay? Are you okay? I just go down into a back bend and I like crawl towards them, and they were all terrified.
I would have shot you.
It was so funny.
I would have actually threw my vape at you.
That was so funny.
Let's get into these stories.
Are you ready?
I am. How scared am I gonna be?
I don't know.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Okay, so this first one, it's titled "I
So
Actually
bright.
Saw the Grim Reaper."
Oh my gosh, go on.
It's from Reddit Ghost Stories, and the user is Nuff Said 8. I originally posted this in Glitch in the Matrix and was messaged it might fit here. This happened when I was just a kid of 9 or 10 years old. It sounds like something made up story, but it really happened. This is my first time revealing it since the day it happened. I was a farm kid that grew up doing chores and helping out on the farm. If you know anything about farming, you know hay baling time is an all hands in time. You are bucking bales in the field and choking in the hayloft. You are doing all this in some of the hottest days of the year. After a long day of putting up bales and being covered in sweat, hay sticking to us and in our mouths and noses full of hay, it was finally done. Being true country kids, when that last bale hit the hayloft, my siblings and I ran towards the pond like it was an oasis in a desert. We hit the cool water full tilt. Our pond was spring fed by an underground river, so that water was always around 60 degrees. We were splashing around, acting like the fools we are, just enjoying getting the sweat and hay off of us. All of a sudden, to my mind, everything froze. It was as if time stopped. There was no sound. The shouts and laughter had stopped. I could move my eyes, but not my head.
Silence is terrifying. Silence is terrifying. If I'm ever like in a field and it just gets dead quiet, that's great.
I glanced around as much as possible. I saw my brother doing a cannonball from the shore. He froze, just as his lower half had entered the water. I could see the water bursting around him. It was frozen mid-air. I could see his happiness in his face. I see my other brother stepping up onto the shore, the water dripping from him, frozen in mid-air. Just beyond my brother, standing on the shore, was a robed figure holding a sickle. Beside him was an old man that looked a lot like my dad.
The dad?
The old man was using a walker or two canes. I honestly don't remember which. There was something so familiar yet different about this old man. I looked closer. The old man did resemble my dad, but it wasn't my dad.
That's scary.
The old man was talking to the figure in the dark robe and looking at me. I have no idea what was being said because, in all honesty, I was freaking out in my head.
I would be too.
Time has stopped. There were two figures standing on the bank of the pond. One definitely looking like the Grim Reaper, and I am acutely aware of them. At the very instant, I sensed the old man was trying to decide if he could jump into my body fast enough to escape his guardian. I also knew he decided not to try. The very next instant, they disappeared and the world started again.
Ew.
I'm freaking asking my brothers what just happened. I explain time just froze. I tell them about the two figures on the shore. They look at me with that look brothers give each other when they think the other is nuts.
Like this?
I never mentioned this again to anyone. It is now almost 50 years later. Guess what? I look like my dad did. I also have severe neuropathy in both legs and now should be using a cane or walker. I will let you guess who flat out refuses to use a cane or walker, no matter how bad the pain is. I now know the second figure on the shore was me as an old man. I now know the Grim Reaper was reviewing my life with me. I also know for that one moment in time, young me and old me were aware of each other. This is why I knew what that old guy was thinking. I also knew old me didn't want to deprive young me of my future by trying to jump into my body. I think when the time comes and current me is on that shore looking at young me, I hope I am smart enough to tell myself to buy Microsoft and Amazon stock. I know most will think that this is a made up tale. I assure you it really happened. I saw my future self standing beside the Grim Reaper watching my younger self.
I don't believe it.
You don't believe it?
I don't believe it at all.
It could
That
happen to
sounds like my
you.
drafts. I don't want it to happen to me.
It could.
But
I think it could be real.
death is kind of scary.
Duh.
Not really. Like, I'm not scared to die, but like the only fear I have is nothing being after. I'm like, beep,
Yeah.
and done. I ain't walking to no light. I ain't walking to nothing. I'm not seeing any pictures of my entire life. That's what I'm afraid of just black.
This next one is also from Ghost Stories. The username is Lame Staff.
Lame
So,
staff.
yeah, and it's titled My Mom Saw a Guy from the 30s. This one is not my story, although I have many, but it's from my mom. Here goes. She told me that when her and my dad bought their very first house together, standard two up, two down, in the city of Birmingham, UK, she said
Okay.
that dad would always arrive home earlier than her from work on weekdays.
Mm.
So when she got off the bus and walked in the door, she was surprised but not concerned to find my dad wasn't home yet.
Mm.
She put the kettle on and went upstairs to change out of her work attire. As she looked up toward the landing, she said she saw a man in army clothes and says she saw him hanging from the ceiling. I'll also add, my mom has had a very strong connection with the other side and has plenty of other weird stories she's told me. Anyway, she started to scream and run outside into the garden and waits until my dad gets home and then tells him what she saw.
She's me.
My dad, being an absolute non believer, shrugs it off and says she's mental.
Oh.
Anyway, a few days later, their neighbors, who were in their 60s, 70s, were out pottering about in the front garden, and mom gets to chatting with them. She told them she felt uneasy and that she feels like there's someone lingering in the house, and told them what
Ew.
she'd seen. Apprehensively, as she didn't want them to think she was mental too, remember, this was in the 70s. The old lady said that it's not the first time someone has had strange feelings in the house. And it's not surprising, she told my mom, as there was a lad who was called to go to join the army back in the war, but refused to go, and ultimately hid upstairs in the loft for months on end, hiding from the police or army or whoever. Sadly, he got so paranoid and scared, he hung himself up there, and his parents found him. My mom always said she didn't find the presence scary or malicious, just knew someone was there who shouldn't be anymore. And
Mm-mm.
obviously, with what she saw, she kind of knew that someone didn't quite know what world he should have been in. Very sad. She said that he stayed there until she kept speaking to him when she was alone in the house. She basically explained what had happened and that he no longer has to hide anymore and to go enjoy the next part of his journey on the other side. Eventually, the weird stuff did stop. What would you do in that situation?
I'd bless the house. I'd encourage it to get the fuck out.
Imagine coming home and someone dead,
Yeah, that's insane. No, that's very traumatic.
and then you realize it's a ghost
Yeah, even more
of your
traumatic.
of the person who lived there before you.
That's insane. No, that's one of my biggest fears. Like when I become a homeowner,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm going to make sure that the house is not haunted because why is it?
Yeah.
No, that's crazy. I need my
Imagine.
house to be rebuilt and not built on top of some like
Do you
cemetery or
believe in
something.
like people who can talk to the dead?
Yes, yeah, mediums. I definitely believe in mediums.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking is how are they not anxious all the time hearing voices or
Mm-hmm.
like hearing and like connecting?
Like not being
Like
able to turn it off.
yes, exactly. Like if someone like if they feel like a presence,
Mm-hmm.
like how do they just go about their day knowing
Well, I
that like
think they like have to talk to them, right?
I'd go
Like how
crazy.
like they're literally talking to you, like, hey, I need help with this. Hey,
Uh-uh.
hey, hey, I'm here. I
Yeah.
need you to tell
And
this person
imagine how
this.
annoying it is
Yeah.
dealing with all
Mm-hmm.
of them, dealing with a bunch. people that you.
But I heard that that lady, the celebrity medium,
Lisa?
Teresa Caputo,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, with the bob.
Yes.
I guess she got like an MRI done during in the middle of a session,
Oh
like in
shit.
the middle of
Yes.
like having someone talk to her, and I
Uh-huh.
guess like the doctors what they saw that like one specific part of her brain was like more active than normal. Would you would you go to a medium?
Well, one day, I know a person that was really close to me. They got on a train ride, and this person comes up to them and says, "Hey, this, and this, and this, and this, all true, all facts."
Mm-hmm.
Like they literally were.
From based off their life or someone else's?
No, imagine you're sitting on the train,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm the lady that came
Mm-hmm.
up to you. She said, "Hey, I know that your name is George. I know that you have three sisters, two parents,
Stuff.
and like everything," and everything was accurate. She was giving them information that was like things that were gonna occur.
Oh, really?
Yes, and lo and behold, everything happened the
Happened?
way that she told them. Yeah,
That's scary.
that these people have know something that we don't. But I do believe it and I respect it.
All right, so next story again from that same Reddit user, Lame Staff. So we moved out of the city and into a new part of the country. It was a fresh start for us all, including our dog, Herbie, lol. I'll throw in now that we were raised Catholic, as it'll become clearer in a bit. So we moved into a fairly new house, about 20 years old at the time. And literally, as soon as I can remember, weird shit started happening. I'm getting goosebumps now as I think about it.
Mm-mm.
When we would all be downstairs watching TV, it would sound like someone was moving furniture upstairs.
Ew.
Like literally the bed and the wardrobes. It was insatiably loud. And of course, on going upstairs to inspect, nothing would be happening.
Yeah, crazy. If I
That
ever heard a noise like that, that's
imagine.
insane.
The house was freezing cold in spots. The dog started losing it and would start growling and barking in different rooms of the house and in the middle of the night, which made it even more scary.
Get a new house.
So this was 2001, so no smartphones and especially no phones with cameras. So my mom decided to grab her camera and start snapping when the dog would act crazy. Had the photos developed, but nothing showed. I remember from age 12, I set up camp on my parents' bedroom until we moved out, only 18 months later because it was just too traumatic. One night, my mom and dad went to bingo, left me at home, and left my brother to babysit. My brother basically snuck out and met up with his mates shortly after they left and said he'd be back before they got home. So at this point, I'm petrified.
Mm-hmm.
So I called my friend who lived back in Birmingham and told her I was home alone and asked her if she can stay on the phone with me until someone gets home. On my life, I put her on speakerphone and I'm asking her, "Can you hear that? That's what it sounds like upstairs right now." Her response, "What the hell? Please get out of the house, even if you have to just sit in the front garden." So, with that, I put the phone down and out the living room window I go.
Uh-huh.
I ran all the way to the bingo hall. It was on a holiday camp near ours, and kids were allowed in there, about 10 minutes away. And when I get there, I told my parents that no one is to leave me alone in that house ever again. They obviously asked where my brother was. I said that that wasn't the part to be angry or concerned about at the moment in time. I was shaking with fear. Mom said one time when me and my brother were at school and dad was at work, she was home alone and she thought she heard something in the hall. She said she went to check it out and she thought she'd seen a girl wandering up onto the landing. She said for the tiniest split second she thought it was me, but then obviously common sense kicked in and she knew I was at school. This was when shit gets fucking mental.
Not mental.
One time when we went back to Birmingham for Christmas and when we got back, our house was absolutely and completely trashed.
Oh.
I'm talking clothes ripped out of the wardrobes, quilts and pillows tossed onto the floor, shower curtain on the floor, the mat in front of the fireplace in our living room had been turned over, cushions and the sofa in disarray. It honestly looked like we'd been robbed. Mom and dad told us to wait outside to try and figure out how someone had gotten in by checking windows, doors, etc., but to no avail. No forcible signs of entry, no broken locks, windows, nothing. So at this point, my mom said she was going to get a priest in to bless the house.
Mm-hmm. She better.
My granddad, who was a staunch Irish Catholic, did this with houses they lived in as kids. Before she could do this, we were out, just me and her one evening, walking the dog on a green opposite the back of our house. We stopped in order to clean up him going to the toilet, and lo and behold, whilst looking up, I'm facing the back of the house, looking at all our bedroom windows. I see what looked like a massive outline of a man standing, looking out back at us. I said without breaking eye contact, "Mom, please look in the bedroom window and tell me you can see what I see." She said, "I'm looking at it. We need to get back in the house as your brother is in there alone." When we got back in, we asked my brother if he was okay and had anything weird happened, and he said no, nothing, and that he was fine. The house went up for sale and we sold, I remember, quite quickly and moved houses. But the very last thing to happen was the day of moving. I and my brother was at school and my mom was ferrying boxes back and forth to the new house while dad was finishing up packing. When she got back, my dad was standing outside the house on the front drive. My mom pulled up. He got up in the car and said he looked as sick as a dog. He goes, "I don't want to talk about it, but there's something in that house." He goes, "I don't want to talk about it, but there was something in that house. Let's go. I never want to be near this place again." I do ask my dad what he meant by that, but he has never answered what went on or what happened while he was alone in there. He said it disturbed him badly, just that since then he believes in the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the comments she adds, also my dad has stated later on in years, he thinks he saw what he could make out a little girl standing on the patio sometimes. We don't know what the big thing in the window was, but we summarized it to be something bad, which maybe have caused harm to the little girl that both my mom and dad saw. Also, I still have vivid nightmares about this house to this day.
That's crazy. There's a place in Florida that holds a bunch of like horrific things,
Oh my
like
gosh.
like Robert the doll.
What's that?
It's basically like an Annabelle or like a Chucky, but like
I
in
hate
real life.
dolls.
So this doll is possessed, and they were in a home, and then the doll was there, and the doll started like creating chaos within like people. But they have him in a museum.
Mhm.
If you even like said like people would try to make fun of it and like poke fun at it, and when they did, they
Bad
would
things
end
would
up
happen.
suffering. Like their house burned down and this and that. There's letters,
What do you mean?
apology letters saying like, "I'm so sorry, like please let this stop, please let this stop," and they would like write letters to him.
That's so scary. I don't claim any of that energy.
No, at all. Rebuke, rebuke.
All right. So this next story is a little bit about Mexico. So bringing it into the culture.
Yes,
It's from
cultura.
it's from Reddit Paranormal, and the user is Spiritual Alien. It's from 6 years ago.
Damn, that's pretty recent.
Yeah. Some of my mom's scary stories from Mexico. My mom grew up in a small town in Mexico where everyone pretty much knows each other. I believe the population was around 350 at the time, and during the 80s. Around the time of the event, she said she was about 10 years old. I don't know if it runs in the family, but at some point in our life, every single member of my family has experienced something paranormal. Well, here are some of my mom's stories that I think are worth telling. She lived in a small adobe house. It was a super small home for the five of them: my grandparents, my uncle, my aunt, and my mom. The kitchen was located on the front part of the house, and the rooms were on the back. There was a wall that divided the kitchen from the rest of the house. And to get to either, or there was a door inside the house, kind of how some hotel rooms have a door to get to the other room. Well, that was their house. They also had a window in one of the rooms so they could see to the kitchen. The kids would sleep in one room and my grandparents in the other. Where my mom and my aunt and uncle would sleep was the room with the window. My mom tells me that at night they would hear the chairs from the kitchen being dragged and all the things on the table would get snacked off the table. In one occasion, the noises were very loud. It woke her and her siblings up. They were curious, although they knew what was making the noise. They looked through the window and they saw a small shadow dragging a chair across the room. She said they ran to the parents' room and slept the night. There, the noises went on all night, she recalls. They believed it was my great great grandma's dad because he lived in that house before it was
He's
passed on to my
pranking
grandma.
them. He's
Yeah.
like, well, since you guys are living in my home that I've paid off, I'm gonna have a little fun. That would be me as a ghost. I'd be like, ooh.
Now some of my stories. It was Thanksgiving 2006. We had dinner with the family. I was 12 years old. I got mad at my mom because I wanted to go to the mall for Black Friday with her and my aunt, and she said no, so I left to my room. Me and my little sister shared a room. The room was small. We had a bunk bed, those metal bunk beds that make hella noise when you move and turn. While I was watching Chicken Little, it was probably 12 a.m. Once the movie finished, I turned off the light and tried to sleep. I was laying down facing the wall. I had my eyes closed, trying to go to sleep, when the bed started creaking like somebody had laid down someone really heavy. I turned around and the empty side of the mattress was sunk down like someone was laying down. I freaked out but couldn't move. I tried to scream and I couldn't. I was so scared I started to cry. I closed
Oh.
my eyes really tight and I let the loudest scream out. My little sister and cousin came into the room and turned the light on, and my sister hugged me. And then I told them what happened. When they turned the light on, you could see on the bed the sheets all messed up like someone was laying there.
Ew.
That was definitely one experience that stuck with me. Throughout my life, I've had experiences with the paranormal, usually just seeing shadows and hearing steps or someone trying to open the doors. And Mexico is so scary.
Yes.
Do you
Like,
believe in like
nah, the
duendes?
fucking. They be moving shit around.
They
They be
do.
hiding my chargers. They be taking everything.
Yeah.
What I know about them is that they come in. They're these little creatures that come and literally just sabotage you in every like way. There was one story that I heard from old friend one day that they seen them in the alleyway just walking around. Yes, it was
No
creepy boots.
way.
Yes, the way they described it.
So let me read this story. It's a little bit about like that. So this is coming back from the Reddit page, subreddit paranormal. The user is JMMC underscore. So this one's about gnomes.
Gnomes, that's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Gnomes.
So basically, in the ranch that my family lived in, they lived right next to this river, and the other houses next to the ranch also lived near this river since it provided many resources. My grandmother told me that these gnomes came from up the river and closer inland, like many other creatures, which was completely uninhabited for hundreds and hundreds of years, which is why they believed these creatures were able to live there. These gnomes were about the size of a small child, and they were mischievous, but not evil.
They're just silly.
In fact, it was known around the village that these gnomes loved children and would always play with them.
Oh.
Over the years, this became normal, and for some reason, people just accepted that they were living and seeing tiny people all the time.
That's
Different times, I guess.
weird.
My great grandmother told me that she played with them when she was a child, and when she grew up and had my grandmother and her sisters, the gnomes were still around.
Damn.
These gnomes would enter houses at night to play with children, and one time they entered at night and gave gifts to my grandmother that was in her crib because she was recently born.
No way.
When my great grandmother woke up and saw the crib, there were multiple stones from the river surrounding the crib,
They
and
brought her
also some
rocks.
piles of dirt and other things from the
They're
river.
like, here you go.
People from all around the village would have different stories of seeing these gnomes. Sometimes they would get up on horses when
Oh.
someone was riding them, and even at night you could hear them in your roof. And
They
you
were
could
here for a good time, not a long one.
and you could also hear them laughing. I don't remember my grandmother telling me if they had names or anything. They just referred to them as duendes. When I asked what happened to them and where they are now, they told me that after some years, after the world started to change, they just stopped appearing to them. What if that's like kids' like imaginary friends?
Well, I don't remember playing with them.
And some people comment, amazing stories. My mother from Puebla, Mexico, also spoke about duendes. She said her grandmother played with them and she would let them braid her hair. Nothing evil, I guess.
That's crazy. Imagine
Mhm.
having these little creatures braid your hair. Is insane. I love these Reddit stories, but I need to
Like the
hear
real tea.
something real tea.
We were in Mexico and we went hiking one day.
Okay.
So basically, where we're from, like, there's this mountain that has a cross up on the mountain.
Yes.
But it's basically this big ass mountain,
Mm-hmm.
and you can hike up there. And so we go, me, my sister, my dad, and some of my cousins. We're doing a hike this day.
Right.
So we go, we start the hike, and we were so young. We were like, I was probably like 10 or 12 or something.
Damn, that was like 30 years ago.
Yeah, so we go up, and so it's this like cross, and then there's like this little building up there, like a little
house.
yeah, like a little
shack.
house. I
Shack.
think it was like a restroom or something.
Okay.
Honestly, I can't remember.
shack.
Basically, there was like scary writing, like say like El Diablo, like
Cross up there.
Yes, and there's a cross up there, like it's a cross, and there was like scary writings and like drawings and stuff, and it looks like that's where people go and like do like satanic rituals.
That's crazy.
I remember me and my
so
cousins, we like
spooky.
went inside and we were so scared.
You
Like
guys
it
are
just felt like
crazy.
crazy because like, what do you
Nasty,
mean you're going up
eerie.
there and like doing a satanic ritual?
Yeah.
Like, and there's a cross there. Like, how is that even? Like,
Mm.
so there's like a chair.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a chair somewhere in like the woods, and it's like called like El Asiento del Diablo. And I guess like some nights, like you like if you go and hiking, like a figure will appear there. Like they
That's
call
crazy.
it like they like think it's like a portal for like the devil to come.
Well, staircases that lead to nothing.
I heard about that too. Forensic, I think it was like a forensic someone.
Uh-huh.
So they like go like discover like mysterious like disappearances in the woods and stuff, right? And that's what they always see is like staircases that like
lead
like
to nothing.
And they say that like
Yes.
you should never like touch it like
Don't
or
go
step
up
on it.
it, don't go near it, like just don't step
Yeah.
onto a staircase that leads to nothing
Yeah.
because that's supposed to be like a portal to
Mhm.
something. Portal, but like also it just leaves room for shit to come
Mhm.
after you if you're going up those things.
Yeah, that's so scary.
Hmm.
Story. I have another dude, everything in Mexico is just scary.
Yeah, Mexico's a
I
bit spook.
remember my cousins, they lived kind of far from like where my grandma lived.
Hmm.
So we were like driving. It was the nighttime. I think it was my dad and like one of my cousins, they were driving and I was in the back seat like laying down because I was tired.
Hmm.
And I just remember them talking about a bridge. Like we were going over a bridge and they're like, no, like this is a haunted bridge. Like it's scary. Like like La
Yes.
Llorona type shit. Like
Uh-uh.
basically saying like that sometimes you'll hear someone like moaning and crying and calling out for their kids. I remember I was a kid, I was so scared.
Yeah, I
I
was
was so
always
scared. I was
terrified of
literally like
hearing things like that.
covering
Me
my
too.
ears, like I didn't want to hear anything, and I was crying, and they were just laughing at me.
I'm dead.
It was so scary.
What are some of your top scary movies that you like to see?
From right now, honestly,
Yeah.
just like because of how recent it is, I
Yeah.
love Talk to Me.
Talk to Me was pretty
It
good.
was so good.
It
I
was
was
a
gagged.
yeah, I was a bit gagged. It had me in the first part a while. By the end of it, I was kind of like, this is
They're
cool.
coming out with a
Like,
sequel, so I'm kind of excited for that. And I could always picture the fucking devil from Insidious. Anytime, like, if I'm like going to sleep and I'm like, oh, like I can't sleep, that bitch will pop into my head.
you're like, boom.
Yeah, no, dead ass. Like he
Ew.
just always like pops into my head, and it's so scary. Just
That's a very graphic image and like
yeah,
very specific.
yes,
There's a lot of people that can still they close their eyes and can see him. I can do
literally
that too.
that. Yeah,
I don't think anything can top Sinister for me.
I've never finished watching it. I'm too scared.
Yeah, Sinister's a really good movie. I remember watching when I was younger. Another one would probably be The Exorcist, only because of how they say how she actually got like possessed or something.
Did you see about the actress
Yes.
that she broke her back while she was filming it? She was doing like one of like the bad like crazy things. I guess she had like a harness on, and I think they like pulled her too hard, and like she was actually like crying, like yelling, like because she was in pain, and they all thought that she was acting, and she had actually like broken her back like really bad or something like that.
Ouch. I don't think I like the way that horror movies are being filmed now. They're not horror films.
Mm.
I think I like the fantasy of having like a werewolf movie, like
Or like a
Dracula,
killer,
like
like a serial killer,
something interesting and
but not
actually
like
being
possession.
harmful. Something that can happen to an everyday person. Those are the movies that scare
Mm.
me.
Do you remember your first scary movie that you watched?
I don't remember the first scary movie that I watched, but I remember being terrified when I was in Arizona. And it's already spooky in Arizona, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like dark, quiet, and if you go outside, dead silence.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my cousins had to play a lot into it, and it's hilarious now. But when I was younger, they were like talking about scary stories, and I'm spooked. We're at my aunt's like big ass house, like, going around looking for the rooms to find my parents. I'm literally knocking on everyone's door. I'm like, where are my parents? So I could go sleep with them. We just saw a scary movie, and I was just
Oh,
spooked that
okay,
we were
gotcha.
like out there
And it
and
was like a
everything.
scary
So
vibe.
yeah, I was just already so eerie. And
I remember my first scary movie that I watched,
what was it?
Chucky.
Were you scared of Chucky?
I was. I was. I remember it so clearly. So I went over to my neighbor's house. I think we were like playing on the tree and then whatever. And then they were like, okay, come inside. Like, we're going to watch a movie. Like, let's go watch a movie. And I was like, okay, cool. And they're like, what movie should we watch? And I was like, oh, like, I don't know. And they were like, oh, let's watch Chucky. I'm like, no, like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, let's do it. And it was two guys. They were brothers. So they were like, yeah, let's watch Chucky. Because they could tell how scared I was.
Yeah.
I didn't want to watch it. And they were like, no, you have to watch it. Like, and they locked their door and they
I'm
like
dead.
cornered me. Even their mom was like, yeah, just watch it. Like, it's so good. Blah blah blah. And I remember like they basically locked me in their house, and I was like crying watching the movie.
Mhm.
I was literally there, just like, oh my god, like crying, like I didn't want to hear it, and they wouldn't let me leave.
Actually, the first movie I probably watched was probably The Ring.
Oh,
The Ring was a scary movie, and it was scary because I think we watched it at my grandma's house, and my grandma already has like this garage-looking storage like thing. We watched that movie, and all I could think about was like the TV's switching to like the fucking Ring playing or something, or even like Scary Movie when they like walk through the
oh
screen.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Like that's what I thought was gonna happen to me, and I was like, oh, I'm like, shit, this bitch got thing on your floor. Yeah, that was literally me.
So
like that's
funny.
exactly how I would have reacted. This weekend we just had our Halloween party. I threw a little some
What'd you dress up as?
just hosted. I was this and I was also a Playboy bunny. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, me
So
and Chris were Daphne and Velma. I was Daphne and he was Velma.
I twisted my ankle
Yeah,
because we were all dancing.
dancing.
We were having a lot of fun.
Mhm.
So that means we were a little bit out of our
Right minds.
our right minds.
We went off. We were kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
we really went off. It was hilarious. We started off by playing like
Jenga.
adult Jenga. So let's. I'm like, we were taking shots.
Yeah.
We took some shots to start the Jenga game. We took a shot, and then whoever lost
Had to
takes
take
two.
two.
I lost both games that we played.
Mm-hmm.
So like each time the freaking Jenga kept falling on me. I don't. We honestly kind of slayed the last one.
It was so fun.
It was cute. It was fun.
It was fun, and then
It was literally like a 10 when we started.
yeah. I really liked that everyone dressed up too.
Me too.
And everyone looked so good. In
Yeah,
their
it was
costumes.
hilarious.
Yeah.
You and my friend showed up in the same costumes
Yeah.
winning.
We didn't even
We
take any
had to-
pictures.
No.
We did it.
Boo. No, it was literally hilarious. I made a playlist. It was the Pink Friday playlist, but I just
It was
like
so good.
I just like added a bunch of different music. I removed different music. There was a few skips on there, but it was just like it was cool
Yeah,
to
it
keep
was
the
good.
vibe going.
It was fun.
We had some candy, some chips. We
The
had a
drinks
lot
that
of
Carla made.
alcohol. There's a hypnotic in my freezer, which is crazy.
Yeah.
My gallon of Tito's
Mhm.
is there. The way I wanted a vodka Red Bull and
Didn't do it.
didn't happen is no. Honestly, I would have probably been on speed
Yeah.
if I had drank any of
That's
that.
crazier.
Mm-mm. At what point did you feel you were done, like drunk?
When the wig came off
When you
and
were dancing?
I ran away, then
Dude, no, you were going off. You literally were possessed by Roman.
Mhm.
Like Nikki
I don't
came
even know
on
what I
and
did. Like
the
how did I?
most.
What did I do?
I don't know, but we were dying at some point.
so
You were in the
funny.
middle. I wish we recorded,
I
but
know.
we were in like having. It was literally a dance circle that you created. It was hilarious. And then at some point, I get in and I start like doing some dumb shit.
What'd you do? You
End
tried to
up
do like
on
a
the
kip,
floor,
right?
a kick up, and I'm like laying on the floor on my back, and I'm like, how do I get up from here without looking lame and without looking like an obese bitch trying to get up? Like beluga, let me grow some legs and
Mhm.
get up off this floor. I swing my legs back. I'm wearing like 6-inch platform boots, not stable whatsoever. I throw myself up, and literally my right leg flies through, twists my ankle. I hear a snap. And I was like, but it didn't hurt that bad. So I was like, okay, it's not broken, but
Did you
it
feel it
is
that night or
sprained.
until this morning?
I felt it immediately
Oh.
after. It hurt so bad. I was like,
Ouch.
let me take off my heels. I'll take off my heels. I took them off, and I stood barefoot the whole night.
Yeah.
It was cool.
I was proud for how long I kept the heels on.
I didn't. What heels did you have on?
The boots.
What boots?
The cowboy boots.
Those 2-inch little heels.
Girl, they were hurting.
They're probably tight too.
Yeah, I left them there too.
I'm gonna bring them back.
I don't want them.
I don't care.
But yeah, it was so much fun.
November's coming.
Yep, so that means Dia de los Muertos is coming up too. Do you guys do anything for Dia de los Muertos?
Honestly, we don't really do much. My grandma has like a little altar. It's mainly just for my grandpa, so which is cool. We don't really do much for Dia de los Muertos. For work, I have an event that we're showing like all the parents, but it's like American Day of the Dead, so they're doing it on the 2nd instead of the 1st. So we're gonna have like a little thing. They're gonna show like them dances and a bunch.
Well, isn't like Dia de los Muertos like both? Like there's one day for like kids and then one for older like people.
Kids?
I think there's like a special like I think Dia de los Muertos is like 2 days and then like first day is like just for kids.
I don't know. Dia de los Muertos was always like November 1st, like in Mexico.
It's not November
And
1st and
then
2nd.
the 2nd is like the one that they celebrate here.
I don't know. Yeah, we don't do much either. We do an altar, or a ofrenda. Or is that the same thing?
An altar, yeah.
Yeah, we do that. Oh, my sister was like, we should put Benji on it this year.
Oh, Benji.
Yeah.
Poor Benji. Rip Benji.
Yeah. But do you like put food out and stuff?
Well, for my grandpa, he always liked to eat these little bombones, the
Mhm.
ones with the eyes, the like
Mhm.
gummy eyes and like
Yeah.
gummy mouth. So my grandma would usually do that, and then like a banana.
Oh, that's cute.
He loved his little bananas.
Yeah. I think my dad puts out like a beer.
Yeah,
Like one of his like
he's like one for the
cousins.
dead homies.
Yeah. Yeah. But other than that, we don't really do much.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna set one up here. I don't know. I don't know where I would put it. Love a
As
spooky story.
much as I love spooky stories, this episode needs to come to an end before we are stuck here talking for another 3 hours about some spooky shit.
Literally.
Um,
I'm like, I'm
so
spooked.
yeah.
I'm spooked. I'm scared to fall asleep. Thank God I have Chris. You gotta go sleep alone.
Not the read. Okay, well,
You and King are gonna be cuddled
yeah,
up.
being
He's gonna
king.
protect you.
I hope that you guys like this week's episode. Tune in and next week so you guys can see some of our pet peeves. If you have any pet peeves, leave them down in the comments below so maybe we can check them out.
Yeah.
Engaging with us on any social media. Find us at the Go Off Podcast with 2 T's at the end. Go Off Pod on TikTok. And you can also find us on YouTube, Go Off Podcast, where you can watch. Spotify, Go Off Podcast, so you can listen.
Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in. We hope you like the stories. Let us know what else you want to hear from us. Let us know if you have any scary stories. Please let us know so that we can stay spooked. And let us know any feedback you have. Do you guys like longer episodes, shorter episodes? Just let us know what you would like to see. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you guys next week. Make sure you're commenting, liking, subscribing. Follow us on all our social medias. My name is George.
My name is Caesar.
And we just went off.
Cut.